Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. It's Sunday morning, and I am doing with you here this live video this morning because three things happened in quick succession today that made me realize that I take my position in society for granted a little bit. I take the privilege that I have in society for granted a little bit. I have witnessed in one day 3 people complain about the power of the state being used against them. One was in the medical public health sector, and I want you to hear this story that this woman has posted on social media, because and for the fact that she was brave enough and knowledgeable enough to stand up for herself. I want you to hear Sunita Balgobin's story. This is Sunita Balgobin. Right after I read Sunita Balgobin's story, I'm going to actually have a member of parliament interviewed live here this morning. We are going to talk to an actual member of parliament this morning who just went through a situation where the state, power arms of the state was used against a citizen in the most, I guess, atrocious ways. And then finally, we're going to talk to a citizen in Tobago who right now, an organization of the state is actually at war trying to steal her property. But I want to hear what Sunita Balgobin posted on the 8th of February. She said, I just want to share my experience today. Apparently Pumpkin Eyes, I guess that's her child, started getting red and then started swelling really quickly. Up until the point that he could barely open his eyes. I rushed home and told my dad, put him in a onesie and wait for me by the gate. Fast forward to, I got to Marabella Health Center at 3:43 p.m. whereupon informing the clerk at the counter that I needed to see a doctor as the baby's eyes are swelling, her response was, they won't see you. It's almost time to close and they have closed off accepting people. Me, this is Sunita, well, it's before 4 and the baby needs to see a doctor. Clerk, well, they already turned away someone, so I know they won't see you. Me, Sunita, so what you're telling me is that I'm here with an emergency that involves a 13-month-old baby and you're refusing to tend to the child? Clerk, very harsh at this point and refusing to make eye contact. I'm not telling you anything. So Sunita walks off and goes forward to a group of 4 nurses just standing talking and asks, is there any way that someone to look at the baby and at least give some advice on the matter? One nurse, because I'm seeing the guilt on her face, this is what Sunita says, walks over to the doctor and says, she says it's an emergency with the baby. The doctor, who would have taken an oath to treat the ill to the best of his or her ability, responded by saying, we can't help her. She needs to go San Fernando emergency if she needs help. Sunita was then advised by the nurses that the doctor is seeing a patient and by the time she is done with him that she would be finished working. Without responding, Sunita took out her phone and took a photo of the clock saying 3:53 in the health center and called the quality hotline. Nisandi and Andre, she's not sure of the spelling, I'm reading what she wrote, were very helpful. Nisandi, who confirmed that Sunita was in the health center, not outside of the compound, advised that she wait there as they would be contacting the health center. After the matter escalated and quality got on to the health sector to speak to the doctor sent the security to put Sunita off the compound. So Sunita advised the security that she was advised to wait there until the call was returned, to which the security told her that he is securing government property and she needed to leave. So Sunita called back the hotline and updated Nisandi, who was shocked. Sunita even put the phone on speaker and advised him of who she was and that Sunita was to wait there. To which a nurse behind a wall on the outside of the building told the security, just call the police and done. And then started to shout at Sunita. Now, this is Sunita's account of the thing. I was here when you came in quarreling. It was 5 to 4 and we done work and you want to see it. You want me to see a child. We close. What you want me to do? When Sunita asked, you heard me quarrel when? She corrected herself and said, well, I was there when you come and everything locked up already. This after this woman has had an exchange with the, we have a picture of the desk and the clock behind the desk saying 3:53, and she's already been there about 10 minutes. After which the head nurse, Anthony, came out and said to her, stop quarreling and stay quiet, which didn't stop her, and she had to be told that again and again by nurse Anthony. Fast forward again, and spending all this time on the phone with quality department, it's now 35 minutes later, and both doctors, yes, there are two of them, I know since Sunita says she normally attends clinic there, walked out and heads down, speaking softly to each other, and went to their cars, not caring that there's a child in need. Now, that's just my confirmation that all they care about, this is Sunita saying, is the sums of money they get at the end of the month. She said she called her private doctor who was able to give advice over the phone and the procedure. She said, Sunita said that Nisani and Andre from the quality division was most helpful, and after she left the compound, kept calling every 15 minutes to follow up how the baby is doing and trying to be of assistance. This is what Sunita said. I have so many questions that I need clarification for. Does the nurse think she was doing me a favor? If they tended to the needs of the child, isn't that their job? How can not only a doctor but any person watch a baby in that state and have no care to help? Sunita asked, am I the only one that thinks if they had checked the child to determine what's wrong, they would spend less than half the time and energy they spent on justifying why they shouldn't? God forbid if something more serious had occurred with the child, who was going to answer? There's so much more, but I'm so tired at this point, shaking my head. Now, I'll come back to that. Kenneth, look, Kenneth, if you're watching me, I need you to update the details in WhatsApp. I need the questions answered right there that I asked you. I want you to do that for me now, please, because I need that information. Anybody else watching, give Kenneth a call if Kenneth is not on the line. But I'm calling Prakash Ramada, who had a story in the paper. And I asked Prakash if he would talk to you and tell you his story himself. I didn't want to quote anybody, and I was hoping. Hi, good afternoon, Prakash. Philip Alexander again.
Good afternoon, brother. How are you doing?
So far, so good, Prakash. Today, it wasn't 2 issues we're dealing with now, it's 3. I forgot to tell you about the one about the woman who had a problem with her child and went to the healthcare center and they told her they were closed. Anyway.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But
Which one? Which of the healthcare centers?
Marabella. She went to Marabella and she had a baby, 13-month-old baby that needed attention, and it was 3:45 and they say they closed at 4, so they couldn't attend to the child. Anyway, this issue, we're losing the plot as a nation, and we need to address this. But I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
The issue that you had with the property that you purchased, that I read in the newspaper this morning, I just wanted to ask you, in your own words, to explain what you went through so that people could hear. I want them to hear a parliamentarian who is also going through this kind of thing.
Well, very simply, what had happened, we were out of the country, and when we returned, this is a couple of years ago, our neighbor who we had a really good relationship with was not there, and the place was deserted. We, of course, used the numbers that we had and called. There was no response or anything like that. We did not know what happened. We were later informed that the bank had taken possession of the property. They had gone through the courts and had gotten their order and everything else, and that several persons were interested in purchasing that property, which is literally next door to me. We were also informed that some of the people who were interested in purchasing that property were not the kind of people you want to have as neighbors.
Right.
I know, illegal stuff, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So my family took a decision that we could not allow or afford to have anybody else get that property, and we, as a family, decided that we purchased that property legitimately, paid more than we really should have because there was a bit of a bidding war. We scraped up and we were able to do it, purchase the property more than a year before. And we were doing some small works as money came in on that property. And a year ago, Saturday evening, some men turned up at our front gate, that is next door, with a bolt cutter and so. We called the police, they immediately responded. By the time they got here, they had cut the locks and came up the steps. And then I saw a former neighbor and said, what is going on here? And she said, well, this is her property, telling the police that. So the police asked her, well, if it is yours, why did you have to break in? No response. When were you last here? Over a year and something before. Clearly something was wrong. Then she said that, look, she had property inside, some personal items, and she wished to retrieve. I said, well, there is absolutely nothing. The house is completely cleared. So my wife, being the wonderful soul that she is, went and got the key. But before we could do anything, it was grabbed out of her hand, literally in front of the police. And they opened up and went in and started changing the locks. I told the police, this cannot happen. This is a property purchased by my family. She said, where's your deed? So I said, well, we don't have a deed here. It is at the lawyers, but we can have that brought up very quickly.
Could I ask you a question?
At home, we have...
Prakash, one question. When I read the story and I read up to that part, did this person who come with police to get access to the property, did she have a deed?
No.
So they didn't ask her for a deed?
They had an old deed, right? I said this, and I gave the account of when the property was purchased and so. And that, in fact, we called the bank officer who had dealt with the matter. It was a Saturday evening, and the man answered. And he confirmed exactly what I had said. I had shown, because we had in our possession a copy of the agreement for sale and all this. The police then said, well, we can't believe you. And they allowed her to go into possession. It was a horror. Because immediately at night, there were strange men literally outside. We had taken down part of the fence, all over the place. We went the next day with the deed to the police, showed it to them, and everybody agreed what was happening was terribly wrong, but that they had to go to the DPP, and we got a run around of a lifetime. In the interim, she was there terrorizing us, the most awful things on social media, racist comments of the worst kind and everything else. And we went to the courts, but before that happened, during that following week, she left the premises on an evening. There was a bit of an incident with some police officers, and she left the premises. At 11 p.m. or thereabouts on a Saturday night before Carnival, vehicle loads of police turned up here with machine guns. And were asking because we had to hire security, as I was telling you, because there were other people literally next door to us. And asked security for us. The security indicated we were not home. They really thought we were not. And in their presence, with all these machine gun turning police officers, they allowed her to jump a fence, jump a gate, and go and took possession of the premises. So we, as law-abiding as we ought to be, went through the court system, and on the first full hearing of the matter, there was no case made out on the other side. They had no legitimate deed, and we got back the order of the court for her to be removed, and she left the same day, and that was the end of that. So it was just a jarring experience. The police officers could take a person who's out of possession, put someone else into possession, tell you that they don't believe what documents you have, what you said. And I'm not boastful, but I live my life with great honor and a sense of God-fearing and God-loving thing, and honesty and everything else. To be told by a junior police officer, we do not believe you, with document in hand, speaking to the bank officer they didn't believe, and to have gone through this. And then now, when having taken the documents to the legal officers of the police and so, we do not up till today know who authorized those more than 10 officers to come up here on a Saturday night at 11 o'clock, asking for me to put her back into possession. So it really tells you that the law could be determined by those who exercise authority and power, and not by what is right and proper.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yes. I want to ask you a question. One question. Did you report that aspect of the thing to the Police Complaints Authority?
Not to the Police Complaints Authority. There was a senior officer who was doing the investigations, and we had made a complaint to him about it.
Any investigation was done?
Not that I'm aware of.
And you, I guess, and your family just opting to just let it go because you have your property now and just want that sorted thing.
We want peace. You see, when it deals with your home.
Yes, your home,
you know,
and that's it. It's your home, and that's what we're dealing with. Home and family today.
Right.
Because
no, but
when,
let me just say, Philip, the matter is also in the hands of my lawyers. It's for them to give proper guidance. You know, you do a balance, whether it's worth the effort going forward, having regard to the kind of environment we now live in. And so these are the things. But, you know, a very important thing when I made the contribution in the Parliament on Friday that nobody is covering, and it is this. I sympathize with my neighbor who, for whatever reason, couldn't pay her mortgage, right? But this is a law and order kind of situation and the right to property and so. But they had gone through that full process. I have been suggesting, and I'm going to start, well, not going to start, I've actually started an effort to get the state to recognize that many persons who, through no fault of their own, had taken mortgages and now are losing their homes or about to lose it. And we need to do something for that because you cannot destroy that kind of stability for
absolutely,
absolutely. And we need to fix that. America did it during the Great Depression.
They did it in 2008.
Right?
They did it just.
And they did it again in 2008.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't take all that much resource because we have the TTMF, so that mortgages that are being held by other institutions, the state can take a position. Look, the TMF can be instructed to take over those mortgages. Not that you're not going to have to pay for your property, but that it will
give you some time
when you're home. You know, when you don't have a job. You're not for there'll be cases, of course, where people take financial decisions as a business exercise, and it didn't go well. Of course, you can't expect to have the sympathy of a person who legitimately, as a home for their children, to lose that because they've lost their jobs. So we need to work on that. And, you know,
I want to ask you a question.
To all those who are interested in it to join in that effort.
Is that something you're going to raise in the Parliament?
I did actually on Friday, but surprisingly, the government said that was irrelevant and objected that I shouldn't pursue it there. So I did indicate there and then, and I will be taking further steps to make this happen, as we did, and you had joined me in the Axie Tax program. The subtext to Axie Tax is leave my home alone. If we don't protect people's homes, then
absolutely, home ownership is
what builds a society.
Absolutely.
Builds a society.
We agree completely on that. On that. Prakash, I really appreciate you taking the time on your Sunday to comment on this, because when I read that, I thought it was really abhorrent that your family had to go through that. And I mean, political divides aside, we are supposed to live as people in a country that want to aspire to be in a law-abiding, decent place to live and to raise our families. And I think that we are losing that plot, and I think that we need to focus on this again. And as you said just now, home ownership. In countries that work, home ownership is a #1 policy, that we make sure that the crucible of the family is the #1 defense for fighting crime. So let me say,
the genesis, Philip, the genesis of the Axie Tax was just for that. Because when the property tax, when they had first covered it, the taxes that could have been apportioned to properties, many would not have been able to pay, and they could have lost their homes to the state. And it is the same push that I have, the fervent belief that the core for society is the ability to own a home and to be safe
absolutely
in it.
Absolutely agree with you, 100%.
So God bless you.
Thanks.
And continue your good work, Philip. And we'll see what we can do.
Likewise. Take care, Prakash. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that.
Bye-bye.
Two people, one day so far. All right. Kenneth Luke. Let me get Kenneth Luke on the phone, because Kenneth Luke is championing this issue. So let me get Kenneth. Unless Kenneth is... Kenneth.
Yo.
I don't have the number to call this lady. You gotta send me that as a WhatsApp so I could call her as a WhatsApp messenger, not Facebook messenger. And I want you to, but give us a quick and a brief overview before I call her.
Okay.
What
I put on I'll send you the number in a minute. What I put on the messenger was since 2016 apparently this has been going on with these people. It's been one issue after another, reporting all the various things to the police that happened between she and the Danoon people. Mr. and Mrs. Danoon, I sent you some pictures on Messenger. those pictures show their house in relation to her house. They show a boundary and where they have encroached on her boundary. Most recently, they paid a surveyor. Apparently, they are lying about it because the National Housing Authority is who probably sent the surveyor. But she has not gotten the results from the survey. Although, in all the videos she took, it shows clearly the picket markers for her boundary and where they have encroached.
Who is the surveyor?
Oh gosh, I put the name in the message.
No problem at all. But you see, the reason I'm asking this, right? This is two private homes side by side.
Yes.
And
But
one.
hear what? Kelvin Child's house across the road. The man from it's a PNM kind of community this woman find herself in because her mother died and deeded the property to her. She has a deed. And there is some question about deeds in Tobago.
Plenty questions about deeds in Tobago. The THA has facilitated. When you check the level of suicide in Tobago, you could link suicide to people losing property. Tobagonians are very, very serious about owning their property. And for some reason, the Ministry of Legal Affairs does not exist and does not function in Tobago.
Well, there's something called settlement. That is the interloper in all of this. And there was a public meeting in Tobago where she stood up and spoke a piece and she was calling people's name. And the known man get up and rush her basically an assault without touching her. Her friend and tell her shut up because they didn't want her to talk and call those names in the public meeting. This is done now. And she's a feisty kind of person, and she basically, they tell us they're going to talk to her after the meeting. And apparently, the abuse, basically, it's emotional. It tends to want to be physical. And it basically is financial as well because she's the one with the deed. And she's putting up a 2-bedroom thing on the other side, away from the people's house on the next side. And so she could rent it and make a living. She ain't working nowhere.
Right.
And they apparently have some kind of, because Tobagonians are like that, they petty jealous and they clannish. And apparently the THA thing is facilitating all of this. The man from settlement lives across the road in Kelvin Child's house. And they, in Tobago, they are building edge to edge to the property lines. So they're not 50% green like how we would like. Them people put the house edge to edge and they bound on it. It's a wonder the house isn't touching.
I want to ask you a question. Does she have a lawyer?
Yeah, and she has just sent you on WhatsApp, I think. I just sent you the lawyer's
Do me a favor. When you come off this call with me, get her on the phone, give her my number, ask her to call me or WhatsApp message me, whatever. Get her to call me now. Okay, I want to receive that call from her. Okay?
All right.
Okay.
I gave her your phone number, you know.
Tell her to call me now. Call her now and tell her to call me now.
All right.
Tell her we're going to be live, eh?
Yeah.
All right, okay, cool.
You want me to stay on the phone?
You could bring her into this call?
I probably can. I don't know. I may be able to join a call from Messenger. I could call her direct, you know, in Tobago. But I don't know how it will work because I have two phones with me, but they can feedback on one.
We have a problem. Tell her to call me directly if I need you, but I want you to listen to what's going on. And if you want to add something, you could actually come into the live video. Send me a message and I will bring you onto the live video, but let her call me. All right?
All right, cool.
Okay, bye.
I'll call her now.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
So we're dealing with today, Trinidad and Tobago. Now, there are a lot of people in this country that being advantaged by a lot of state agencies, police, immigration, customs. I'm dealing with a situation now where I understand that police officers were able to arrest and molest a Venezuelan woman for 3 days because she had no rights in Trinidad. But if this is a republic ruled by law, we will enforce the law. We will enforce law. And regardless of who you are, president, prime minister, come right on, priest and pundit, We will enforce the law. We will make sure that we enforce the law. 1.4 million people in this country live under a constitution that says this is a republic ruled by law. Trinidad and Tobago, I am asking you again today, listening to 3 stories so far this morning. A woman in Tobago who her neighbors decided that they have more clout in Tobago than she does, doing how they want. If she didn't have access to Kenneth and Kenneth didn't have access to me, she have nobody to turn to. Prakash Ramada, who was a parliamentarian at the time and a former government minister, police don't care about that. Police went to enforce some police family authority over a house, and you ought to take them to court. And thank God for the courts. As slow as they move, we could still hope as for a final adjudication outside of the gang mentality that has seized control of this country. Seize it back. I want to send a message to that security guard who dealt with Sunita. I want to deal with this. Mr. Man, they have nothing named government property. There is public property, and public is Sunita too. So understand, calling police to put Sunita and her child out of a health center, if that child had died, you, sir, would have been the first in the line guilty of at least conspiring to murder. Depraved indifference. And the Progressive Empowerment Party has a legislative agenda that we want to bring to Parliament as soon as we get into government. And one of those laws that we want to bring is a law called depraved indifference to human life. If you are a doctor, a nurse, you're managing a public health center, and you, by your actions, cause somebody's death, you could make a jail. Ambulance driver, telephone operator, police officer, citizen who watch somebody get shot or killed or bounce down, who have a phone and don't make a call. Yesterday I'm driving from south. And I see a fire on the right-hand side, almost on the southbound lane, almost on the actual roadway, big fire, and causing traffic running up the road. Now, I'm heading north. So I'm driving past that traffic, and that traffic is just going on and on and on. And I realize there's no fire engine attending to it. And I'm wondering, did anybody make a call? So I call 990. Nobody knew. Nobody who drove past or who got through that fire thought to make a call. 990, there's a fire causing traffic. We've lost the plot. We've lost the plot. We're living like, do what you like. Take care of yourself. Fix your own self once you get through good. And that is why people are lying down in hospitals. Somebody wrote, and I want to find that for you, because a lot of it is public health. A lot of it is public health, and public health is a concern for this nation. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Alexander.
This is Dawn.
Yes, my name is Dawn.
Dawn, give me your full name.
Dawn Lopez.
Dawn, Kenneth contacted me
Yes.
to tell me that, now you know we're live on social media, right?
Yes.
So you are live right now and people are hearing you. And Dawn, Kenneth told me that you're having a serious issue, and I want you, if you could, to in short, tell us exactly what is going on, how it started, and where it is now.
Okay, in August of 2015, I came up here after my mother's death and was approached by Mrs. Dinoon that this property was on her land. I was in tears as I had just lost my mom. And in September of 2015, I came back up to Tobago and I went to land and survey because I'm living in Buku Coral Gardens, which is under the HDC. So I went and I met with a Mr. Eddie, who told me I had to go to settlement because this survey could not be done privately. I met a one, Miss Veronica Brown, who tried to assist me. She told me that I had to, later on told me about 3 months that I had to do a letter, which I did on in February of 2016. She then was removed from settlement and replaced by a one Preston Henry, right? Which I keep trying to get in contact with when I eventually did. Well, in 2016, Mr. Dinoon and then packed some blocks that was inconvenient and could have do damage to my granddaughter. I approached him about it. He started to get violent and made threats towards me. I went and I made a report at the Old Grange police station. I have the receipt of...
Dawn, sorry for interrupting you. I know that the situation between you and your neighbor has deteriorated to open hostility, but you can't tell me all of those details. This is what I want to know from you this morning. Do you possess a deed for this land?
Yes, I do.
Do you possess a deed for this land? And Mr.
Yes.
Dinoon, the people next door to you, they are encroaching on your property?
They build exactly on their property.
They are on the boundary line.
On their boundary.
On the boundary line.
Yes.
But they're not encroached on your property as yet.
No.
And what is the problem that you are having?
Okay, I was served by Mr. Laptis a letter regarding notice for survey on the 24th of January 2019. The survey was conducted on the 24th and the boundaries was established. I have the entire survey video and also my witness, videotaped and witness. The boundaries was established and it was explained by Mr. Dinoon where he can fence from because he wanted to fence right away. However, the following Friday, I got up and my boundary marker was removed. I again went to the police station. They took a report. On last week, Tuesday night, they started sanding. I called, Mr. Dinoon went for a cutlass in his gallery. I called the 999. I got no response. I then called the Old Grange police station again. They came. They started threatening me to take me to the police station if I don't stop recording. Right? They left. That thing happened the Wednesday, the Thursday. I hired someone to put up 3 posts for me within my boundary line. They came, they brought people in to dig for them. They broke down all my posts that I erected.
Okay, I wanna stop you again, right? This seems like it should be a matter in the court and that you should apply for a protection order from the court. Have you applied? Do you have a lawyer?
Yes, I wrote the settlement.
No. Do you have an attorney at law?
Yes, but he's not answering me at the moment.
I don't understand that. He is your lawyer?
Yes.
And your lawyer is not answering you?
Yes.
Well, fire him and get another lawyer. But Dawn, you need a lawyer that can approach the court for a protection order from you and your neighbor, and they will serve both of you with an order saying stay within a certain distance from each other at all times. We need to start there. Yeah. You listening
the
to me?
police told me I will not get a protection order. However,
Police is not lawyer. Dawn.
I went to the court on Friday. I went to the court on Friday, and none of the justice of the peace
Okay, Dawn.
was there. They said
Dawn,
that
stick a pen and listen to me now. Okay? You need a proper lawyer. Get a proper lawyer. Chalena Birchwood.
Mr. Alexander.
What's that?
Right now, I cannot afford a lawyer.
Is there no legal aid in Tobago?
Yes.
So
but
go
that's
to-
where I have to go now.
Well, go to legal aid. But what you need is a protection order. Now, I'm seeing Chalena Birchwood he's saying that he spoke with you. So I want to see if I can bring Chalana into this conversation. Because we want to help you, but we don't want it. Yeah, but we can, right?
Yeah.
Chalana,
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
you hearing me?
Wait, hold on. Yeah, now I can hear you now. Go ahead.
You hearing me now?
Yeah, now I'm hearing you.
Okay. Chalana, is this a matter that you are managing? Are you dealing with this and advising Dawn from the Tobago?
I spoke to Dawn about 2 to 3 days ago. And at the time, well, I knew about this since last year, because what happened is that Dawn spoke to me about it last year. When I came to Tobago in June, I saw Dawn. I spoke to her at length about it. I know exactly what's going on. I know what it is that they're trying to intimidate Dawn. That's what it is. And the guy she's speaking about, the noon guy, I think either he was an executive of the THA from before, or he was in charge. I can't remember. I'm trying to juggle my memory. But anyhow, the bottom line is I spoke to Dawn about it last year. And they were encroaching on her property. And when I spoke to her 2 days ago, I told her, you need to get a lawyer. You need to get a lawyer, because this is going to that.
Yeah, what? You, me, Kenneth, we're gonna sidebar on this with Dawn.
Yeah.
I want a lawyer, and I want to get some sort of protection order that involves the court here, not the police, right?
There you go.
Okay, so Chalana, we will sidebar and we will address this, right?
Right.
Okay, so we will stick a pin right now at this juncture, because I want to get all of the information where this is concerned, and I want us to see what we can do, getting a proper legal representation. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks a lot for coming on the thing. You want to say anything before you go?
Well, the only thing I said, when you finish, I was supposed to do a live, but I'll wait until you're finished. Then I'll do my live after.
All right, brother.
I've got some info.
Nice.
That's all. Sign me out.
I'm looking forward.
All right.
Take care. All right, Dawn.
Yes.
Kenneth Luke, who is watching now, is hearing me say that Kenneth, Chalana, and I are going to be talking to you off air.
Yes.
And dealing with this matter, okay?
Yes.
All right, so we will stick a pin in this interview now and get you some redress, all right? But we need to involve the court, because Mr. Dinoon needs to be served an order of the court, because if the police ignores an order of the court, the police officer could be charged. We need to get it to there. You understand?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of intimidation, too much.
Don't forget about the intimidation. We reach the conversation now. Intimidation done, okay?
Okay.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. The people of this country are not represented at any level, and they feel that because from the top down we've used political power to pervert justice, to pervert governance, to make greed and advantage the order of the day. The Progressive Empowerment Party says that must be brought to an end. If you want a functional country where every creed and race do in fact find an equal place before all offices of state and justice, vote yourself a proper government. I want to tell you all again, those of you walking around wearing blinkers thinking that nothing could fix, I want to tell you something. The reason we have a manifesto called Reboot the Republic is that our policy is called undo and redo. Understand, the power of that parliament rests on the Constitution. And if the justice system in the country can't function, undo it and redo it. If the police service can't function, undo it, redo it. If public sector cannot function, undo it, redo it. There is no obstacle to lawful management of the government. What you need is to stamp it with your authority. the Constitution, and tomorrow on the radio I am going to be addressing this issue again. The people of this country need to understand their power, and they need to stand up and share their power with each other and take it back from these charlatans masquerading as government, fronting for the contract mafia. It is time that every citizen in every community, every neighborhood, every street of the Twin Island state that is Trinidad and Tobago had a government that worked for them. When you hear is we time now and daytime now, all of that is foolishness. The government that is elected to office is the government of all the people, white, black, red, green, and every shade in between. You could never have an Indian government for Indian people and a black government for black people, and this country are going to function. We need to bring all of that madness to an end now. You need to want that. You need to want this country functional, because you have an option now. You have a team now. You have a real political alternative now. You have a vehicle by which to right size and repair our country. And if that is what you want, the Progressive Empowerment Party is standing here with you. Stand up for yourself. Stand together as one people under one flag. Let us rout it. Let us fire them. Let us begin the process that should have happened 56 years ago, when the Union Jack was lowered and the red, white, and black was raised. Trinidad should have become a real nation. It is not. It is in no way a real nation, but it could be. Get ready, be prepared, and stay safe, Trinidad.